A Course in
What?
with Cynthia Morgan.
Hey, course friends, welcome to A Course in What? I'm Cynthia Morgan, and this is a podcast in which I read and discuss the text of A Course in Miracles. And A Course in What is a free weekly podcast that comes out each Tuesday. And we are on episode number 31. And we're finishing today the section Miracles as True Perception. It's section 2 in chapter 3, The Innocent Perception. And it's on page 38. 2 podcasts ago, we read the first 2 paragraphs, and today we'll read 3 through 6. So again, the section called Miracles as True Perception means really that our natural state is to be miracle-minded, to see beyond the illusion to the truth of the situation. And that is our true perception because it sees only the truth. So let's begin with paragraph 3, sentence 1. When you lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. So have you ever gotten mad at someone or upset because they didn't do what you expected or wanted them to do? Or they keep making the same mistakes over and over and you get upset because they aren't making the right choice? Well, basically, this sentence is saying that you need to change your perception about that person. Sure, let's say someone is an addict and they keep relapsing. Yes, they're making a wrong-minded decision over and over again. And it's hard to watch people make wrong-minded decisions over and over again. It's not about denying that that's what's occurring, but what really needs to happen in order to create a healing in your own mind is that you need to believe in their ability to be in their right mind. You need to hold the space that they can make another choice and be confident in their ability to choose that love or healing over fear or guilt. 2, this is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference. So this meaning when you have a lack of confidence in someone to do the right thing. This is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference because you aren't choosing your right mind. You see, if we take it back to God, God never wavers in his confidence in us. So if we are wavering in our confidence in someone else, then we're not thinking like God. And that is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference, as it says. 3, it also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the miracle. So someone needs to be in their right mind in a relationship or a situation in order to have a miracle. It just takes one person, one of us. So if he or she is in their wrong mind, then you need to be in your right mind in order to bring about a healing in that situation. Sentence 4, the miracle perceives everything as it is. That's another way of saying that the miracle perceives only truth, because only truth is. Everything else is an illusion. Sentence 5, if nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. Again, if you're in your right mind, then you will either see love or you'll see all fear as a call for love, and then you will respond with the only real response, which is love. 6, I have said that only what God creates or what you create with the same will has any real existence. So the Course talks about God's creation, which is all of us in love, and that our creations are an extension of that, and those are the results of that love as well. So we are creating out of that same will, and that's the only thing that's real. Only that love is real. 7, this then is all the innocent can see. Innocent, you may recall, is being in a pure mind. So this then is all those with a pure mind can see. 8, they do not suffer from distorted perception. Distorted perception always comes from the wrong mind or the ego. And that perception will always tell you that your errors and other people's errors are real. Paragraph 4, sentence 1. You are afraid of God's will because you have used your own mind, which He created in the likeness of His own, to miscreate. Meaning, God created our mind to think like Him, but we've used it to miscreate or believe in separation instead. 2, the mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free. The ego is an imprisoning thought system. It keeps us locked in separation in our body and in the world. It keeps us a prisoner to death. If we believe that that's our reality, then we will constantly miscreate. So let's read that sentence again. The mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free. So it starts with that belief that we are a body stuck in this world and our destination is death. And it starts with that ego thought system. From there, then, the mind can only miscreate. 3, an imprisoned mind is not free because it is possessed or held back by itself. So the will of God is the only free mind. And that will of God can't get through a mind that's seeped in fear and guilt. 5, to be one is to be of one mind or will. Oneness, of course, is a state of mind. Therefore, to be one is to align your mind to that oneness, to the Holy Spirit in your mind, to God's will. 6, when the will of the sonship and the Father are one, their perfect accord is heaven. So that is heaven. That's a state of oneness where your mind is aligned to God's and everyone else's mind is aligned back to God. When the will of the sonship, it's saying, and the Father are one, their perfect accord is heaven. We will have transcended this idea of separation and belief in the ego. Paragraph 5, sentence 1. Nothing can prevail against a son of God who commends his spirit into the hands of his Father. I had to look this first sentence up because it's a reference to the Bible's account of the crucifixion, where in the Bible Jesus said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And the Course talked about the crucifixion in an earlier section, you may recall. So it's carrying that theme of the crucifixion into this section. So nothing can prevail against us when we align our mind with God, because we no longer buy into the illusion. What then is there to prevail against if none of it is real? All of that disappears, and we're left with peace and love. The need to prevail comes from the ego. 2, by doing this, the mind awakens from its sleep and remembers its creator. So again, aligning our mind to the Holy Spirit or God awakens us from this sleep. We awaken from the dream of separation. We awaken to our truth or reality with a capital R. 3, all sense of separation disappears. I think that's really beautiful, that this whole veil of separation just lifts and we begin to see things through that vision of the Holy Spirit or oneness. 4, the Son of God is part of the Holy Trinity, but the Trinity itself is one. So there's an illusion really of separation in the Holy Trinity because there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And So we see that in terms of levels, and that's helpful to us, of course, within the dream of separation. But he's saying here, the Trinity itself is one. We are all one. 6. This single purpose creates perfect integration and establishes the peace of God. So that's where the peace of God comes from transcending the ego thought system through remembering this truth that only oneness exists, only love is real. 7. Yet this vision can be perceived only by the truly innocent. Again, that truly innocent goes back to the pure mind. And the way that we get to that pure mind, once again, that true perception is through the miracle, as this section is called, miracles as true perception. 8. Because their hearts are pure, the innocent defend true perception instead of defending themselves against it. So the ego always defends itself against awakening, against truth, against any higher vision. And it's true that, as a general statement, we defend what we believe in. If we believe in the ego and the body and the world, we will defend it. And if we believe in truth, we will defend that. We all defend what we believe. The ego is constantly trying to defend itself against truth because that's the end of the ego. When we awaken from the dream of separation, when the light goes on in the darkened room, the darkness disappears. So everything that the ego does has this one goal of defending itself against that truth. It doesn't want to disappear. That's why we all hold on to our ego so strongly. We can see it in other people. And if we recognize that that's really just their fear of the love of God in their mind, then we can begin to reinterpret whatever is going on in that relationship or with them from a higher perspective, from a true perception, as this section is called. The ego will always see truth as in conflict or as in opposition to it. 9. Understanding the lesson of the atonement, they are without the wish to attack, and therefore they see truly. So the idea of attack is really silly from a higher perception because there's really nothing to defend. Truth doesn't need any defense. There's no reason to attack outside of ourselves. So the whole notion just becomes kind of silly. So let's read this again. Understanding the lesson of the atonement. The lesson of the atonement is only love is real. Truth can't be attacked. Truth is true. So understanding this, they are without the wish to attack, and therefore they see truly. So when you truly understand this, you can't attack. 10. This is what the Bible means when it says, when he shall appear or be perceived, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. So I can't speak for the author of this sentence in the Bible, but this either means when Jesus appears in the second coming, or when those believers, speaking from a Christian point of view from the Bible, get to heaven, when he shall appear to them, we will be like him. I suppose it's just another way of saying we will be saved. But here, obviously, Jesus is telling us as students of A Course in Miracles, he's saying what this really means is that when we align our mind to the truth, that same truth that Jesus is connected to, we will then see our brother as Jesus sees him. Paragraph 6, sentence 1. The way to correct distortions is to withdraw your faith in them and invest it only in what is true. So here in this first sentence of the last paragraph, Jesus is telling us how to go about finding that true perception, as he titled this section. He says, withdraw your faith in the ego. Be willing to be wrong about situations. Be willing to see things differently. Be willing to have your perceptions cleansed. Let go of what you think is true. Instead, invest in what is true. And what does that mean to invest? It means to have faith in something else. Invest in something outside of your own ego. 2, you cannot make untruth true. It's a losing battle to try to make the unreal real. We need to let go of that and, again, believe in something greater than yourself and the world. 3, if you are willing to accept what is true in everything you perceive, you let it be true for you. So it can't be true for you unless you are willing to accept that it is true. 4, truth overcomes all error, and those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting solace. Those who believe their ego can lead them to happiness. I mean, all of us have bought into that idea, basically can never be happy. And that's why we're all studying the course, right? Like everything has not led to where we want to be in our lives. And so we need to give up what we think we need and be willing to ask God to show us what we need. And that's the way to find that solace, that everlasting peace. 5, if you perceive truly, you are canceling out misperceptions in yourself and in others simultaneously. So that's the miracle. You choose to see someone's mistaken perceptions as just that, mistakes. Just like the first sentence we read today in paragraph 3 on the opposite page, when you lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. So when you perceive them truly as they are, you look past their mistaken perceptions, you are perceiving yourself as you are because you're not coming from your ego in those moments. So in that sense, you're healing that relationship or that situation. 6, because you see them as they are, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so they can accept it for themselves. So this sort of reminds me that if you have a dog and you just constantly tell the dog that it's bad every time it does something wrong and you never praise it when it does something right, then you're not going to have a well-adjusted, happy dog, and neither will you be well-adjusted and happy in that relationship because he'll always just do what's wrong or he'll live in fear of punishment. So instead, we need to praise what's right. Focus on the good in yourself and in others. Don't dwell on the mistakes of the past. All minds are joined, and that helps you stay in your right mind, and it helps that other person find their right mind. 7, this is the healing that the miracle induces. That shift, which is the miracle, creates healing. Focus on the good. See what the ego has made. Again, it's not about denial, but believe only in what's real. Believe only in what's good. Okay, so we finished this section and we'll stop there for today. And if you would like to stay in touch, we have a Facebook page just for the podcast at facebook.com/A Course in What. And I love reading people's comments and the posts, and I think it's a really nice kind of outlet to talk about something that came up in the podcast, or if you have any questions or comments, you can write them there. I love to read those. And I also have a Facebook page for my hypnotherapy. It's /Cynthia Morgan Hypnotherapy. Also, we have a phone number, which is 707-500-ACIW for those of you that don't like to get on a computer and you want to call in and make a comment or ask a question. So we've made it easy, right? And you can contact me through my website too, cynthiamorgan.us. We have a Gmail account for this podcast, which is acourseinwhat@gmail.com. So, thank you very much for joining me today. And if you would like to say the summary of A Course in Miracles with me, that would be great. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.